And then the last question, I got to defer to the right. So is there any evidence of anybody who's fully vaxxed getting sick again? And or is there any more color to the question, which I think is rightful, and I think to which no one knows the answer as we sit here, unless Eddie and Judy correct me, and that is, how long does this last for you? How much time do you have on the clock in terms of protection? Eddie, do you want to jump in on either of those? Good to have you.
Thank you, Governor. I'm not aware of cases of what we call breakthrough disease, which is defined by those who have been fully vaccinated and then subsequently get sick. We know from the pivotal trials, the phase 3 trials, that the vaccines, the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine, for example, they prevented, and the Janssen vaccine prevented severe disease and hospitalizations and deaths. So when and there will be cases of breakthrough disease, if not in New Jersey, throughout the country and elsewhere, they're not likely to be very sick and hospitalized. We may have had some cases reported, or we'll have to ask our communicable disease service about that. And I do want to distinguish those from fully vaccinated individuals, for those who might have gotten the first dose of a 2-dose series and maybe were already infected when they got their first dose and then became ill before they got their second dose. As far as the durability is concerned, Pfizer actually, I think a couple of weeks ago, reported that with a 6-month follow-up, that in fact they showed that the effectiveness of their vaccine, or the efficacy of those who were enrolled in clinical trials, extended through that 6-month period. And I did hear actually on the radio that Moderna also stated that, because they were a little bit behind Pfizer, but I actually looked on their website today and there was no press release about that, so I'm not sure where the media got that information. But I wouldn't be surprised if they have the same durability of at least 6 months, because it's the same technology, the mRNA. And so that's good news, but if you ask beyond 6 months for at least those 2 vaccines, time will tell.
I was asked in an interview yesterday, Eddie, and Judy, you and I have talked about this, whether or not we would keep our distribution networks basically in place. It reminded me of the field medical station conversations we had. And I said we have no choice but to keep the distribution that we've built. Remember, we built distribution way out ahead of the supply. In fact, it's still out ahead of the supply, but it was way ahead of the supply when it was being built up by Judy and team in December. We'll have no choice but to keep it ready to go. I mean, I'm not sure we could go from a Monday to a Tuesday, but this has to continue to be turnkey because of the very question you asked and Eddie answered, which is we just don't know whether or not we're going to be back. You know, one end of the spectrum is your annual flu shot that I get every October versus a tetanus or a once a lifetime, once a 10 years. And thank you. Good to see you, by the way. Matt.